hello all my friends, and welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you're here this week. Have you ever had one of those weeks where you're just hungry for stuff? You're hungry for certain things and you gotta make them. Well, that's what this video is going to show. We were hungry for some things, we made them, and they were delicious. I'm going to show you what all we had. And to get this started off, I am going to show you what we had this night after we got home from vacation and we were missing that delicious seafood that we had all week in Florida. I decided to make some shrimp, baked potatoes, and homemade coleslaw. So here we go. We're getting into this one here. My bagged coleslaw mix is going to be what I'm going to use for the cabbage. Instead of cutting it up myself, I took a shortcut. I did a little mix of Miracle Whip and Duke's mayonnaise, a tiny little bit of the apple cider vinegar, and stirred that together real good. I just decided to take a shortcut on the cabbage portion by buying the bagged mix, but instead of using some sort of pre-made dressing for the slaw, I decided that I was just going to make it myself. So I'm adding in a little bit of the jalapeno salt. We've been loving that so much lately. And then instead of sugar, I'm going to add in just a little bit of stevia to sweeten it. And so that made a really good dressing. For this, I am loosely following a recipe that is from a Mennonite cookbook that I usually refer to pretty often for some standard type recipes. They've got a good selection. So I'm adding in some fresh diced onion there. I'm going to pour on my dressing and I'm going to let that sit in the fridge for a couple hours before dinner time. Your slaw will still have a good crunch to it, but it needs to start softening up just a little bit as all those flavors meld in there together. Don't be tempted to overdress your slaw. When I made slaw in the past, I used to think it felt a little dry and needed some more sauce, but it really doesn't. Once that starts breaking down, it is nice and creamy. So yeah, it's delicious. I just added some black pepper there to the top. Now I'm getting started on our shrimp. We love this bagged shrimp from Trader Joe's, the Argentinian red shrimp. It is so good. It's really big and kind of craggly looking. It kind of has, and that's what the bag says, it's got a lobster flavor. It's sweet. It is so good. We love it. And so basically I just thawed that out and I'm going to get some seasoning on the shrimp. I'm just wanting tonight some good old shrimp scampi. So that is what we are going for. I've been using this Tone's onion salt quite a bit lately. It is really good. I wish I had bought another one. I got it at Ollie's, so probably won't be there the next time I go back, but that's okay. I'm really enjoying it though. So we've got the onion salt, some garlic powder, some black pepper, and then I'm going to go in with a lemon that is definitely needing to be used up, and I'm going to put the whole entire thing squeezed over the top, and then I'm going to let this sit in the refrigerator to marinate. This totally hit the spot. It made us feel like we were on vacation again. The great thing about shrimp is it cooks up so quick. I'm talking minutes, and it is done. You don't want to overcook it so it gets tough. It cooks up quick and is so delicious. This really did hit the spot. Such a yummy meal. moving on to another night's meal. The older I get, it seems like I enjoy barbecue and want it so much more than I used to. James is a big barbecue guy. He's always down for barbecue, but I seem like I want it a lot more than I used to these days. So that's what I'm doing tonight. I am making barbecue spare pork ribs. So in my 9x13 here, I'm going in with just some various seasonings to layer the bottom of that. And then in go these ribs. I've got them kind of trimmed down a little bit. I did not pull all that skin off the back. I don't always do that. I know people say don't cook ribs without doing that, but sometimes I just can't get it off and I just give up on it. And honestly, they taste delicious anyway. So that's what I'm doing here, is getting them in this pan and then seasoning up the top side of that. And then I'm going to go in with this Italian dressing. And then these are going to get covered and they're going to marinate overnight in the refrigerator. I think I marinated them overnight. I might have just done them all day long. Maybe that's what I did. Started them in the morning and marinated them all day. So that's what I'm doing here. Just making sure they are really good and seasoned up. They can definitely hold up to a lot of good seasoning. So that's what I did here. I didn't follow a recipe. I marinated with my heart, whatever I thought looked good from my spice cabinet, and then I finished up this little bottle of dressing for the sort of the wet ingredient there to kind of get this all going together. And so I'm going to get this covered in the fridge. Now, I am trying out a new recipe that I saw on Instagram. She said just grab a roll of sausage and a can of baked beans, and there you have a delicious side. So I thought, okay, I am trying this. So I am going to empty these beans here into my little baking dish. I'm going to brown up the sausage on the stove. I decided to do some onion in with that because I love onion, and then use my paper towel to soak up all of the excess grease, and then I just spooned that sausage right on over here with these beans and gave it a good mix, and then I stuck those in the oven to bake. That was pretty simple. I wanted to follow pretty closely to what she said so I could get my own thoughts and opinions on that recipe. Here are the ribs out of the fridge, been marinating. You can see they've just soaked in all of those seasonings and that liquid. And I decided to just bake these in the oven this night because I was going to be using my oven to bake those beans. So I knew that's what I was going to do. So I just did low and slow in the oven. Here they are, looking so delicious and tender. And then I just moved those over to a baking sheet so I could get a good amount of barbecue on and let that kind of go under the broiler and just really kind of get sticky and kind of crisp up a little bit underneath that broiler. It works its magic on that barbecue sauce every time. Now, my thoughts on the beans. We really enjoyed them, but I did give them a taste test and I felt like they needed some more seasoning. So I went in with a little bit of mustard, a little bit of ketchup, a little bit of brown sugar, the stuff that I normally put in my baked beans to get that good tangy saucy taste that we really like in the beans. I'll definitely make them again. I love the sausage in there, but I would probably put my own seasonings in there like I usually do with baked beans. Look at this plate. I was able to put the slaw from the night before with this, and it made a perfect pairing. Such a good dinner.
All I want in this whole life, a little red house and a country wife, a picnic table out on the lawn, a couple of kids and a couple of dogs. Work all day to 5:30, a chain link fence and a gravel drive. The wind chime ringing on my front porch, a brand new carpet on every floor, and a rope swing tied around a limb of a tall oak tree. Don't sound like much, but sure is heaven to me.
Well, doesn't this look like a bunch of cheesy sausage goodness? This recipe is one that I've wanted to try for a good while, so I decided tonight's the night. So I pulled these jalapeno peppers out of my freezer. If I buy some peppers like this and I don't get to them fast enough, I throw them in the freezer and they work perfectly that way. So I have washed these. I have trimmed them up and pulled out the seeds and the ribs, and now I am stuffing these with the sausage mixture, which was sausage, cream cheese, cheddar cheese, and you just let that melt all together after your sausage is browned up and drained. Very easy mixture, and then you just stuff your jalapenos with it. And so everything about this sounds like something we would love. James is a big fan of jalapeno poppers anyway, so the addition of the sausage and the cheddar cheese, yes, and these were so good. So I just put some extra cheddar cheese on the top, and then I have it on a foil little base, and I'm actually going to cover it as well. I sprayed the top of that so the cheese wouldn't stick, and I made like a little foil packet because this is going to go on the grill with the steak that James is grilling up for us tonight. You don't have to do it that way. I'll have the recipe down below, but that's how I wanted to do it since we had the grill up and running. I'm all about efficiency. So look at these two ribeyes. Oh my goodness, I used the onion salt. Are you surprised? Onion salt and pepper. Let those come to room temperature. And James, the grill master, is doing his thing out here. And we just had a delicious salad and has all sorts of good stuff in there. And I'm going to take you outside to the patio. Here's the steak hot off the grill, and it's our first night at home in 2023 to sit out and eat outside. So we're underneath our black and white umbrella back on our back patio, and it just feels so nice that the winter is over. So this is going to be delicious. James is the grill master. And then once I get this little packet open of the jalapenos, I will show that to you. A couple of these peppers were hot as fire, but I will definitely be making these on repeat. We loved them. Well, I'm sure glad that you have stuck with me to this long. Here at the end, I'm showing you another really quick and easy meal to get on the table. This is cube steak. I'm not even going to bother putting this in something else to season it up. It can be seasoned up right here in this little container. I used garlic powder, pepper, and some onion salt. And I'm going to go in with just a little bit of flour. I'm not really worrying about, covering it edge to edge. I'm just wanting a little bit of a coating on the outside. That way when I fry it up in the pan, it will just have a little bit of a texture there to the outside, a little bit of a crunch maybe coming from that flour. That's what I'm going for. So I'm getting it into the hot oil here in the pan. This is olive oil. And I'm just going to fry these up low and slow until they get tender. I am also going to add in some onion slices, and I have some fresh baby Bella mushrooms that I'm going to put in there as well and let these fry up together. Now, this, like I said, is another quick and easy meal, and it's hearty. These think maybe like $7 for a package of these, so they're not super duper expensive, and they're just so good. Hey, I just put in some Worcestershire sauce. You can see I add the mushrooms, of course, and then usually my cooking method when I am frying things, I like fry them, get a sear on them or get a crust on them, and then turn them, get a crust on them, both sides, and then I'll put just a little bit of water, and the water just kind of steams them, helps to cook it and get it tender without getting it too tough and too crispy crunchy on the outsides too. So that's what this has been doing, and this water will just cook out, and by then usually whatever you're frying has gotten a lot more tender than it would have otherwise. At least that's what I have found to work out here for me. And then our side for tonight is just going to be some fresh broccoli. I put onion salt, a little bit of regular salt, and some garlic powder on here, and I'm just going to let this cook up. We like ours cooked pretty tender, so this is hopefully going to start boiling here in a minute and get going on this. This was a super easy meal, but so delicious. Those flavors were really intense from the mushrooms and the fried onions. They just really give off such a good flavor. Really great with that cube steak, and then our broccoli with a little bit of cheese melted on the top was just a perfect side. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching another video. Hope you got some inspiration. Foods don't have to be fancy, and you don't have to have a long, drawn-out recipe to have something delicious on your table to feed your family. All right, I'll see you the next time, good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise.